Saying, hold on a second. Oh, that was me. You might be saying, hold on a second. At the last premiere that we just did for Carmen's Singer 401A, that's going to be given to her daughter, Scott said the next premiere that we see is going to be down in Oklahoma. Well, I thought I would wait until then, but I decided that with the guys and I kind of being split a little bit for a week, and we're so used to being together, that I would go ahead and play a little bit of music for them, and I might as well share it with you at the same time. I play what I call kind of a spiritual impressionism. It's just very soothing, calming type music, both for me and for the guys, and hopefully for you as well. And I play it all by ear. I started this way, way back when. I did it all the way through college, and it was just kind of my respite amid studies and everything, where I would break away and sneak into the music rooms and just play the piano and just enjoy it. And I guess it's not horribly awful, because I was even told back then by some music majors that they really, really liked my style of music. So hopefully you enjoy it as well. And the next premiere you see after this one will be in Oklahoma. Here we go. Now just the black keys. It's amazing the harmonic you can get just from black keys. Here we go. This is Dr. Singer's favorite, by the way. Well, there you have it. Just a little bit of music as a send off as I get ready for this trip down to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the next premiere will be down there. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, as my grandpa used to say. So take care, be safe, and if you start feeling anxious about something, you can always spin back to this premiere and enjoy a little bit of solitary, calming music. I hope it was calming. So God bless. Stay tuned for other premieres like this, which will be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right.
Well, one can make a couple of conclusions here. Either the Lord is not willing, or the creek is rising, because my trip to Tulsa, Oklahoma to visit WK down in the Sewing Museum has been postponed. As some of you know that follow me on Facebook, I got an early morning message this morning on Sunday from WK at about 4:45 a.m. and he told me that there had been a death due to COVID that affected his family, and he had to travel to that funeral, and it's going to happen next week when I was scheduled to be down there visiting with him and touring the museum. So with that being postponed, I'm trying to move forward with some of my projects and premieres at the workshop. And that next premiere that I had slotted when I got back from my trip to Tulsa, Oklahoma, was going to be none other than this beautiful Singer 201-2 that belongs to my friend Super B out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And this particular machine you're looking at was born on December 20th, 1946. Equally exciting, along with it being a Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines, obviously, it also comes from a production group size of only, wait for it, 15,000 machines. Now, I've said repeatedly through premieres that as soon as you break that threshold of 50,000 or less, as far as that production group size, the value of that machine goes up exponentially. And that was one of the things, along with it being an original owner machine that I sourced specifically for Super B to fully restore it for her and prep it for her leading up to this exciting event of this premiere. I also was extremely excited to procure it for her because of that group size. Again, my target is always to pick a machine for a customer. If they ask me, Scott, I'm looking for this machine, and you said you don't have it in your personal collection, will you source it for me? Absolutely, I will. I'll go to the ends of the earth to find the best possible machine. And again, when I am talking to potential sellers on behalf of a customer, and they've sent me on a mission to find a machine for them that I don't have in my personal collection, I take that seller through about 80 plus questions, vetting them to get all the details about that machine, the provenance, the history, the maintenance schedule, everything. How many times has it been, shifted? How much, whatever. What are its moods in the morning? Does it drink coffee? I mean, I just beat the seller up, and I do it in a very gracious and kind and charming way, so they don't take offense to it. And the ones that I've worked with in the past already know the routine. It doesn't matter how many machines historically I buy from a seller. It could even be from Alex over in Great Britain, and I would still go through that same process of vetting on behalf of the customer. So that customer knows that I'm doing all that legwork for them, and they pay a small fee above and beyond the cost of the machine and shipping for me to do that work. That usually takes from start to finish about 6 to 8 hours between Facebook, FaceTime, calls, texting, messenger, blah, 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 before I finally feel like I'm making a correct buying decision for that customer. It's not a lighthearted approach at all. Nor was this one that you're looking at on camera right now. And again, to take you back to that unboxing a number of months ago when I opened up that box and pulled this machine out and saw it myself in person for the first time. When Super B sent me on this mission, she had seen the work of my restorations in the past, and she was just as impressed as all of you have been about the craftsmanship and the work and the attention to detail that I put into my restorations. You know, everything from the mechanical to the electrical, and of course the aesthetics as well. But she said to me, Scott, I don't really care how the machine looks. I just want it to sew a perfect stitch. I just want it to be able to sew up a storm when I sit down to it and do it consistently each and every time. I said, okay, that's easy enough. But with that in mind, I still, as I'm looking at pictures of machines from potential sellers on behalf of that customer, I still look at how that machine presents, because even when a customer says to me, I don't care how the machine looks, they're going to be the one that are sitting down to that machine every single day. Very likely doing different projects. And how much better it makes you feel when you sit down to a machine and let's say you have a dust cover over it or something like that, and you pull that dust cover off and the first thing you see is that beautiful machine like you're seeing right now through the lens of your eye, just as you're seeing it through the lens of the camera right now. How does that make you feel? How does it make that machine feel? I've said this before, when a machine feels good about itself, how it performs, how it presents, it just makes that machine run at even a higher level, at even a higher level. And it makes that owner puff up a little bit and feel even more pride about that machine that they call their own. And that's the good stuff. And then when they sit down to sew with it and it delivers that perfect stitch every single time, it just makes them feel even better about the decision to go through my workshop to procure that machine instead of rolling the dice and going to Craigslist or Etsy or Facebook Marketplace or wherever they might go. It just makes them feel better about that decision because it is a little bit more of an investment, obviously. So while my plans have been derailed this week, and my prayers and thoughts go with WK as he travels to go to this funeral, that's more important than anything that we could have done during this visit this week. And I know that we're going to come together and have the opportunity to visit again. But it gives me a chance to ground me back to my core mission, which is taking care of my customers here in the workshop and not making them wait any longer than necessary to be able to see this premiere, get excited about what their machine can do. And that's why I do it. I want to be able to not just show still pictures of sew-offs or describe to them in a message how their machine is going to perform once they get it. I want them to be able to, in a sense, virtually sit down with me and see that machine sew well before it ever lands on their doorstep. And that's why I do what I do. And I don't know of a lot of other folks that invest that additional time. It takes quite a bit of time to prepare for one of these premieres and to get ready to present the machine and really give it an opportunity to kind of strut its stuff and to demonstrate what a difference, what a miracle has happened while that machine has been on this workbench. And it's always fun to see that. It's always fun to get to that point so that we can celebrate together in a sense. We can celebrate the achievement of taking another machine to a totally different level and giving it that opportunity to shine. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a variety of different sew-offs. I'm going to be able to have the opportunity to show what this incredible machine from 1940, what did I say? Were you listening? 1946. And again, kind of a cool birth date for this machine. By the time Super B gets this out in Las Vegas, we're going to be well on our way to moving towards the holidays and specifically towards celebrating Christmas. And won't it be fun to have this machine in her sewing room, in her space, before Christmas arrives, and then being able to do projects leading up to Christmas and leading up to Christmas as well, right around December 20th, being able to celebrate the birth date of this incredible Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. How cool is that? How cool is that? I mean, really, what a Christmas present for Super B to be able to have this machine there when she celebrates that great holiday, and to be able to rejoice in all that the holiday brings, and along with it, the incredible gift of this machine that she now has as part of her collection. That's good stuff, don't you think? That's why I get so excited about what I do. People will write me all the time and say, you just get so excited about what you do. Why wouldn't I? This is like the greatest job ever. I feel like my friend that presents all of the music programs, I've talked about him before. His last name starts with an R. You know who I'm talking about. And he talks about being so blessed with being able to do what he does. He loves his job. And I've quoted this before, but the greatest prize in life is working hard at work worth doing. That's what I do every single day that the lights are on in this workshop. And the lights couldn't be on without folks like Super B and all of the rest of you that have made that investment of sending your machine to the workshop or dropping it off to the workshop for me to have the privilege and honor of being able to bring that machine to the top of its game again. Yeah, I feel like I'm on my soapbox here because I had not planned to do this premiere until I got back from Oklahoma, and now I have the opportunity to jump into it today, as I had, lots of other plans in my mind. I'm doing final prep, I'm checking the car, I'm making sure everything is good to go for the trip, and now I can take a breath out and sit back at that workbench and relax until that trip can be rescheduled to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma to see my friend WK at his sewing museum down there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to still be here, even though, and I said this to Bill, my friend down in Kissimmee, Florida, Bill O'Rourke. We recently were chatting through some things, and I said, well, Bill, the only constant is change. And that's why when something like this comes up rather abruptly, and I'm all geared up to go to Oklahoma, I'm all geared up to see this museum, I'm all geared up to interview and spend time with WK, and it changes. So what? If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. And what's meant to happen right now is this premiere for Super B's 1946, born December 20th, 1946, from a group size of only 15,000 machines. This is my mission right now. So let me get some lights on. And I did some, as you can see through the camera readily, I did some cleanup on the machine, but as I had said when we unboxed Super B's machine a number of months ago, there was a blemish on the bed that you'll see in the shot that was all the way down to the metal. And amid all the other things that I've been doing, and I knew that Super B, even though she was incredibly excited when she saw that unboxing and how beautiful the machine was, all in all, when initially she said, don't care, it can look like, basically look like a piece of junk as long as it sews a perfect stitch, but I went well above and beyond what her expectations were. So I've left that little blemish on the bed as, I call it the sewing scar. It's one of the evidences of all the work and all the memories that this machine has created over its life since it was born in 1946 and it left the factory. It's one of those, it's a badge of honor. It's a badge of honor. And when I do have customers that want a full restoration, brand new paint and everything, that's a museum quality machine that I end up creating for them. And that's equally exciting. But the battle scars of machines are, and I said this recently to John Smith in that premiere, my friend from the Navy, and he worked at NASA and all that. I mentioned the battle scars of a machine because he talked about how unattractive, how ugly his Swedish Beauty was. And I mentioned that in relation to those battle scars being like a tattoo on a person. And he right away proudly from his Navy days pulled up his sleeve a little bit to show his tattoo as a badge of honor. And so as we move around this machine a little bit today, and as you see that battle scar, think about that. That's a badge of honor on Super B's machine. And I'm kind of glad that she didn't want that removed, because it's kind of fun to remember that and to reflect on how many hands have touched this machine. Even though it's an original owner machine, inevitably, when a machine is in a family, it's going to go from grandma or great-grandma to mother to daughter to granddaughter to great-granddaughter. And that really is the legacy building of what vintage machines can do that newer machines could never, ever, ever hope to do, because they're never going to live that long. Plain and simple. But when our vintage machines are cherished and treated like a treasure, like I said in that recent premiere, they are legacy building machines. How cool is that? Really, how cool is that? So, the next premiere is not in Oklahoma, and that's okay. Because what we're going to focus on now is Super B's Super 201-2. And as you may or may not remember, the 201 came on the scene in 1935, which means, allow me to correct something real quick here, which means coming out in 1935 gave the 201 the opportunity to receive one of the greatest namesakes that any machine ever made has received. And I declared it about a decade ago. First one in the world to declare this. The Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. So coming on the scene in 1935 gave this incredible 201 series the opportunity to be a part of another legacy building company, Rolls-Royce, out of the United Kingdom, England, and gave it the opportunity to participate in putting together one of the finest motor cars ever created on this planet. Ever created. I mean, as soon as you think of luxury, contemporarily, if that's a word, you think of cars like BMWs, you think of Lexus, you think of, just a variety of different cars that have been made that are just super cars. But when you go back to the grassroots of luxury, you look at cars like the Rolls-Royce, you look at cars like the Bentley, and other cars that also came out of the incredible country of the United Kingdom of England. So the 201 coming out in 35, and Rolls-Royce choosing to use the 201 series to sew the interior panels of their luxury car, a car very much like you see sitting on the bed of Super B's machine right now, gave it a privilege and an opportunity that had it not come on the scene around 1935 and began to establish itself as a clear leader, even more so than the featherweight, which a lot of featherweight owners will puff up and say, we've got the machine that has the perfect stitch. I don't disagree. I think featherweights are incredible. I think they do fabulous when it comes to stitching. But when you're sewing leather panels for a Rolls-Royce, a featherweight's not going to cut the mustard. It just isn't. Not with a 0.4 amp motor. So they had a choice to make, and out of any machine they could have picked in the day, light industrial, commercial, what was intended to be household, like this 201-2, they picked a 201 out of any machine, and they could have picked any machine. Let's face it, Rolls-Royce, duh. Yeah, they could have picked any machine, and they picked a machine just like Super B's to do it. Right around the latter part of the 1940s going into the 1950s. So this is a legacy machine that was used by a legacy company like Rolls-Royce. I got to harp on that because even today, when I'm kind of scrolling through and recently saw my post where I posted that machine and the person had put that ridiculous inflated price for the machine they were selling. And I got into a little verbal fisticuffs with another visitor to my Facebook page about how ridiculous that is. You know, I think every vintage machine is priceless. It's absolutely priceless. But we need to send a clear message to people that are considering vintage. We need to send a clear message, and the clear message is we're going to be knowledgeable about our machines. And that's part of our mission here in this classroom, is to help people to become more knowledgeable about their machines. Even my friend WK down in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that I played a part in inspiring to open this museum about 3 years ago, said to me in our first phone conversation, he said, Scott, until I started watching your videos, and specifically watched that video where you introduced the 201-2 as the Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines, I had no idea what I had. I had no idea what I had. And this is a man that already at that time had a number of machines building in his collection and was already moving towards the idea of opening up a museum that people would visit from all around the world. So how vital is our mission in educating people, whether it's people on Facebook Marketplace that I'll reach out to and they're listing a machine that I know is worth 6 times or 7 times what they're asking for it, and much to the chagrin of people that are potentially hoping to get their mitts on it at that price, I will educate that seller on Facebook Marketplace or Etsy or eBay or wherever it is. And I'll say, do you have any idea the treasure that you have in your possession? And the price that you're asking for it is absurd. It's absurd. And it's so exciting for me to see them revise their listing then to reflect what I consider is a fair price to them and a fair price to that potential buyer and a fair price to that machine that again has pride in its legacy as whatever it is, whether it's a Swedish Beauty, whether it's a 201-2 like this, or whatever the make and model of that machine is. We need to be true and honorable about helping people to appreciate what a treasure a vintage machine is. And again, don't post on my Facebook page. I'm harping on this, and I'm on my soapbox, because otherwise I'd be preparing to jump in the car and travel about 1,000 miles to go down and see my friend down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Don't post on my Facebook page if you see a machine that I posted and you got a similar one for a steal. Don't post what you paid for it, or I'm going to delete your post, because that is not the message we want to send about our treasures. If you want to say you got a heck of a deal, go for it. If you want to say you got it for a steal, go for it. Post as many pictures as you want about the machine you got. Do not put a price. Okay? All right, I'm off my soapbox, and I'm going to head over to the workbench now. But I just can't emphasize enough how our plans in life sometimes change. But generally, if the good Lord has a hand in it, and even if the creek rises, we've got great opportunities that we can claim. And that's what I'm doing today. All right, let's get started on this. And I'm going to have to pull up a little bit of music because I did that intro showing myself at the piano because I was planning on releasing that Sunday evening on the eve of jumping in the car and heading down towards Oklahoma. But instead, here we are. So, see if I can pick out some music real quick that I can play periodically through this premiere to showcase this fabulous Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. And bear with me for a second, I've got to click through a couple of pages. Again, I'm very thankful for YouTube. I'm very thankful for what they represent and that they do with sincerity. They try to improve their working space for creators in order to give us more tools. But change is not easy, especially as we get older, right? So they keep moving things around, and it's like, doggone it, I just figured out how this control panel thing works. And now I've got to figure it out all over again. What the heck? What the heck? But what can you do, right? They control the panel and I have to adjust. So it is what it is. All right. So I'm going to open this up with a little bit of music because all you've heard is me ranting and raving about various things, which all have value. And as I said to one person on a Facebook post as I was getting into a little tussle with this individual about the ridiculous pricing where they put these inflated, exaggerated, idiotic numbers in associated with vintage machines on Facebook Marketplace, and she said, hey, I'm going to be a den mother, basically, and she didn't say this is my paraphrase, cool your jets, Scott, breathe, calm down, buddy. I said, you know what, when I'm speaking truth, to make a point, I sometimes do get passionate, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for that. All right, so a little bit of music to open us up with. And this is called Staunch. I hadn't even looked at this title, but I just mentioned speaking in truth, or speaking passionately in truth. And this one is called Staunch and True. So, oh, jeez. Oh, this is fun. This is really fun. All right, let's get into this. And remind me, we will pop over to Facebook so I can show you some of the pictures, the progress pictures of Super B's machine. Sorry about that. I was clicking through something on the screen that popped up real quick. Okay, speaking of screen, let me try to remember to turn my screen around more than I usually have been remembering lately. And I'm going to move our Rolls Royce out of the way. Turn on a couple more lights. Oh, I already had them on. I've got different lights in here now. They're kind of a spotlight type light. And it's sometimes hard, depending on where they're directed, as to whether or not they're actually on. And I did replace on Super B's, it had a regular incandescent bulb. I did put a LED bulb in there. So much better light and much less heat, as I've said before. All right, let's go ahead and do genuine elk hide. And I haven't done this for a while. I'm going to do a single layer to start. And I'm going to offset it a little bit because I'm going to then launch us into some other sew-offs immediately after that are equally challenging. All right, here we go. A single layer of genuine elk hide. Wow. Are we done? That was so stupid easy. That was so stupid easy. Oh my gosh. This incredible 201-2 just made that task look like we were sewing, literally like we were sewing cotton. We were sewing cotton! But it actually was this chemically treated elk hide that is the thick of thick. And if you can see that in the shot, actually, you know what, I can do better than this. My good friend Maddie from down in Florida that sent me the big sister to the featherweight, the 301, and then also recently sent me her very cherished 222K, so it could be the very first featherweight convertible, as they referred to it back in the day. It could be the very first featherweight convertible in the workshop. And she sent me a real cool gift. She sent me a number of cool gifts, some of which I'll share at a later date. But she sent me these very cool holders that I'll kind of zoom out on a little bit. Blah! So you can see And I don't know if she made them or where she got them, but they're just really, really cool. So you can see what it is. It almost looks like it's part of a frame or something. But then you just set the sew off right on there and it supports it. So I don't have to use my Rolls Royce or I don't have to use other things to try to hold that stitch off up while I'm showing it to you. How thoughtful was that? I just meet the most incredible people. I am so incredibly blessed to meet the incredible folks that I have the privilege of meeting as a result of the work that I do. And look at these stitches that we just laid down using this 201-2. And look at the top of that. Let me take my hand off the camera because I'm going to vibrate it a little bit. Look at the thickness of that. If you're new to this YouTube channel and this is the very first premiere that you've watched, we just sewed through the equivalent of a belt, and Super B's incredible 201-2 blew through it like it was a light cotton. Like a light cotton. And again, this is a machine from 1946. It's not a youngster. And yet it flexed its muscles after I got done going through that motor and doing a number of improvements on the motor. And it laid down what even a featherweight owner, if you can imagine, as prideful as they can be, doggone it, it laid down a stitch that's perfect. I mean, it literally is. And if I turn it around and put it on this very cool stand that Maddie sent me from Florida, we're able to see that we can't see much of anything because of the nap of that elk hide. It's really, really tough. But you can see peeking through there what is a perfect stitch for a lock stitch as well. Absolutely perfect. So what do you say to this other than it's a pass? It's a pass. And beyond that, what I would like to say on top of that is I think we should double the stakes now. I know it's a little bit of insanity. I get it. But we're going to actually raise the stakes now to 2 layers of genuine elk hide. I've gotten some feedback from folks, and you know what? I welcome feedback, and I usually will react to it in a very positive way, and if they've made a suggestion, I will implement it. Just like my friend from New York that suggested I try a Singer leather needle, done. My friend from New Jersey that suggested I try a Schmetz leather needle since I am in love with Schmetz, done. Did it. And now I have a friend that said, Scott, we understand the premieres are not to show the max of what that machine can do. It's to demonstrate stitch quality. It's to demonstrate the versatility of the materials that machine can lay down a consistent stitch on. But can we push the boundaries a little bit? Some of your earlier videos way back when, you would just go nuts sometimes with machines and do things that people thought and would be declaring in their little blog groups and all their little huddles, they would be declaring is impossible. And that's why this person said to me, that's why I would go to your channel, because I loved watching you demonstrate that the impossible was possible in your workshop. And so I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. And this friend, by the way, that I'm pointing to is from Canada. We're going to double the stakes now. A single layer of elk hide is enough to prove that Super B's machine is ready to get the job done. I mean, how many people are going to sew belts with their machine every single day? And that's the thing about these vintage machines after I get done preparing them. It's not a one-off. You can sew at this level every single day, all day long. And as long as you do basic maintenance, that was kind of cool. As long as you do basic maintenance on that machine and take care of it like you would any treasure, it's going to take care of you every single time. So let's raise the stakes. Let's go from a single layer of elk hide up to 2 now. All right, don't bite your nails. Don't bite your nails. Let's put on a little bit of music to calm you. I can actually put my spiritual impressionism back on, which I think is very calming. But instead, we'll put on something called, that last one was called, what the heck was it called? Staunch and True. The next one is called The Bachelors. The Bachelors. All right, let's do this. After I turn my screen around. So to give you an idea of what we're going to sew off right now, there it is. All right, just slow your breathing down. Slow your breathing down. We're going to be fine. I promise you. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're talking about 8 to 10 ounces of leather. I've done this before. I'm not the new kid on the block, okay? Maybe I am. You never know. Always, what do I say? Sometimes a teacher, always a student, right? So maybe this machine will say, you are nuts, man. There's no way I'm going to sew that. There's no way. Or maybe it'll just knock it out of the park like I'm expecting. So here we go. 2 layers of genuine elk hide. Oh boy. Here we go. Oh man! That is a new level of crazy. That is a new level of crazy. Oh my goodness gravy. Oh my goodness gravy. Oh boy. That's fun, isn't it? Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm going to show this to you now. Now the top stitch, I'm having to look at the back. The top stitch on the top row is the first one that we sewed. The stitch on the bottom is the second one we just sewed. We're going to look at them at the same time since they're so close together. What do you think of that? I love it when, like I say this all the time, you guys are so doggone smart. And when you offer the encouragement to really lock the camera, Scott. To really lock the camera, Scott, for goodness sakes. Good gravy, buddy. Come on. But when you encourage me to push the boundaries and to revisit my roots and to do outrageous things on this channel, I love it. And there you can see from the side what we just buzzed through with Super B's Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. 2 layers of this genuine elk hide and laid down a perfect stitch with a single layer. We added the second layer, perfect stitch, and then we turn it over, and whatever we're able to see is what we can see. We're only going to see 1 stitch row, obviously, because we went through the 2 layers only once. Once I bend this back. These new stands that Maddie gave me are just super, aren't they? I don't know where she gets them or if she made them or whatever, but don't send me notes about can I buy one, because I don't have them. Maddie has them. So, unfortunately with that nap, there, whoop, we saw it. Let me pull these back a little bit for you. Hold on a second. All right, camera's locked, screen turned around. I actually remember that time. So now we're looking at the back side, which is going to show us what that lock stitch looks like that came through that second layer. Boy, that is a pain to see that, but I'm going to do my best. There you can see a little glimpse of it. All right. Well, you get the idea. 2 layers of genuine elk hide, about 10 ounces of leather, and Maddie's 201-2, her Rolls Royce of Singer sewing machines, just delivered on this at a level that most people would say that is impossible. And this individual that contacted me asking me to, to push the boundaries a little bit more, if I will, which I'm glad to do, said to me it was so much fun to go back to this group and to post, and I'm going to throw this to the back, it's a definite pass, to go back to this group where they had said that such and such was impossible and share a link back to your video that showed the impossible being done. It was galling to some of these individuals that he did this. But I respect people like that. And I also get a little chuckle out of it too. Because it's fun when we can remind people, again, back to the treasure thing of our vintage sewing machines, when we can remind them not only are they a treasure that you don't put away in a drawer, but they demonstrate their intrinsic value by putting them to work every single day doing the impossible. Don't you agree? If you agree, right now in the live chat during this premiere, regardless of what your religious outlook is, type an amen, would you? With an exclamation point. Do it now. I'm going to wait. Matter of fact, I'll put on some more music. But if you agree that it's fun to demonstrate that vintage machines can do the impossible every single day that you sit down to them, type an amen and put an exclamation point in the chat, would you? Please? All right, so that last one was called The Bachelors. And now we're going to put on something called, what are we going to call? The Coquette. I have no idea what that says. So, something like that. Here we go. So if you took the time to type amen exclamation point into the chat, I want you to reach out to me after the premiere privately through Messenger, and I'm going to send you something special. If you haven't done it by now, contest is over. Impromptu contest is over. If you typed it when I asked you to type it and it's visible, contact me and I want to send you something special because you stepped out of the shadows. And that's something I respect. All right. Should we just call this premiere over? I mean, we've done 2 layers of genuine elk hide, for goodness sakes. It's the impossible. What else can we do? Lots of stuff. Give me a second. Hold on. What shall we do next? All right, let's go ahead and do some of this nylon webbing. This nylon webbing is the thick of thick. And you can see by the catacomb type style, if you're new to this channel, by the catacomb style, it is basically saying, good luck, mister, trying to get through me. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. But you know what? It is gonna happen. So we're not gonna do a single layer of this. We're actually gonna do 2 layers, which looks something like that. Not quite as crazy as our elk hide that we just did, but it's borderline crazy. So let me slide this into position. And we're going to do our best to go down and around. All right, are you ready? Here we go. And I'm going to slow it down just to show you that you can harness the power on this Rolls Royce with its 0.5 amp motor. This is actually one of the rare 201s that has a 0.5 amp motor instead of a 0.54 amp motor. And I know that because I took the motor apart. All right, here we go. Boy, I'm getting really, really close to the edge here. Really close to the edge. All right, down to the finish, and I'm not going to gun it, but I'm going to give it a little bit of gumption so that this incredible Rolls Royce of Singers can not only show that is she a pretty girl, but she is a girl you don't want to mess with. All right, here we go. That was about 20% of the way down, I would guess. About 20%. Yeah, I know. The things that I do to a motor, and I've told this to you in other premieres, will actually raise that motor to a level that exceeds what it could do when it left the factory. And again, that's not just me bragging. That's what I've been told by individuals that used to work for Singer, going door to door, demonstrating machines, presenting machines to potential customers. They used to be like the Fuller Brush Man. And they've told me, Scott, your machines will outperform what the machines I brought into customers' homes were able to do right from the factory. That's kind of cool. All right, so we went down and around, and white thread on yellow, let's be realistic. It's going to be tough to see, but we'll see what we can see. Okay? And I'm not sure if I like these new spotlights. They kind of distort the color a little bit of the sew-offs. I'll try them for a bit, but your feedback is valuable, and if you think they're kind of weird too, maybe I'll switch them back to the other LED bulbs. But that is a beautiful stitch through this nylon webbing material. It's hard to see, but you can kind of see it there as we're going across. It just really, really blends in. Then we'll go down. There you can see, it's a lot easier when you look at it vertically, isn't it? See that stitching? I wonder what happens. Let me just try this for kicks and giggles. Let me shut off one of these lights real quick and see if indirect light will give more clarity to stitches. And it does. Isn't that weird? Less light is sometimes better because it actually bleaches it out. Let's start over again. Less light is better. Who knew? Yeah, now you can see the stitches a lot clearer. Yeah, until we get to that point, then they're pretty tough to see. But at any rate, it's a definite pass. We're going to flip it over. Yeah, here it's a little bit clearer. At least it is from my vantage point at the workbench. Maybe you'll be able to see these a little bit better. Maybe not. I hope you can. Let's look at these stitches now and see if these are a little bit more visible. Yeah, not bad. Oops, I overshot it. There it is. Like I said, when I'm trying to line these up sometimes, I'm looking through a tiny little screen, and what I can later see on a big screen is much better than what I can see right now. So the two layers of nylon webbing, for what we were able to see with white thread on yellow material, is a definite pass. I'm going to throw that to the rear as well. And turn my light back on. And let's see what we're going to sew next. I'll throw on a little bit more music softly in the background. And we will keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. Okay, so that last one was called whatever, Coquette. And now we're going to do the Thomas Jefferson March. Thomas Jefferson March. All right, screen around, camera locked. What should we do now? All right, let's do some light material. And again, this is a suggestion I got from Piper, my friend from Canada. This is basically a cotton blend. And as you can see, it's paper thin. I'm just going to fold it in half once so we actually have something to sew. And we'll buzz down this to see how this 201-2 does with the light side of things. We've already seen the heavy side. Excuse me, we've already seen the heavy side of things. So now we'll see how it does with what is a much lighter task. Here we go. All right, down to the finish. And again, I'm not going to blast it. I'm going to go steady so you can see you can really harness the power of this Rolls-Royce Singer sewing machine. You don't have to blast it if you don't want to. All right, let's take a look at these stitches now on these 2 layers of cotton blend. I mean, be honest, wouldn't you like to be back in the day when they used to play music like this on the classic bandstands in the town? Similar to the one that Carolyn talked about where she lives, where it's basically it's a handmade type stage. And they used to bring the band players out, and on a Sunday afternoon or whenever, they would play the most beautiful music like you just heard in the background as we were doing this stitch off. Are those days gone forever, or do we have to go to a community like where Carolyn comes from, or communities like that where they still will have that old age vintage charm? What do you think? So I'm going to go across these stitches now, and we can look at these as well. Beautiful stitches, the spacing, the formation. Again, when you set up a machine, you set it up with the idea of what the customer is going to be sewing, and I'm setting it up for a little bit heavier grade type sewing, kind of like the elk hide and some of the other leathers. So if you decide to sew something super lightweight like this, particularly depending on the needle and the thread that you're using, you may have to make subtle adjustments to define that stitch a little bit better. But all in all, I'm very, very pleased with what is a very light sew-off for this Rolls-Royce of Singers. And because I made it so long, I have to come out that far so you can see it in its totality. Now we're going to spin this around. We'll look at that lock stitch. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. Again, if I were going to sew a lightweight cotton blend like this, I probably would just slightly, for this lock stitch, I would increase that upper tension just slightly just to make it pop a little bit more. But all in all, look at that. Absolutely spot on. Turn to page 15 in the class. This is a picture of a perfect stitch. Any questions? So yeah, I mean, it's just, look at that. It's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. That is the type of stitch that we want to be able to deliver. And again, we've gone between 2 layers of elk hide, we've gone through nylon webbing, and now we're on 2 very delicate, almost paper thin layers of cotton blend. And Super Bee's machine has not missed a beat. It hasn't missed a beat. And so again, that's one of the main goals of these premieres, is to show the diversity of sewing that the machine is capable of doing, and yet still be able to deliver a consistent, drop-dead gorgeous stitch. And that's exactly what Super Bee's machine is, you know, like I said before, it's the proof in the pudding. It's not talking about it, it's not conceptualizing in some blog group about, well, what machine lays the perfect stitch and how do you achieve that? It's demonstrating, it's showing it. Like my friend that encouraged me to push the level up on the sew-offs a little bit, it's having a link that you can share and say, we're not just blowing smoke here talking about what might be possible. Here it is. Go to Scott's channel and see the impossible being done in each and every premiere. How cool is that? Pretty doggone cool. So that was the Thomas Jefferson March. And now we're going to do, to all of my friends that have Spanish roots, Spanish ancestry, to any of those that have ever gone to Mexico and said, oh my gosh, what a beautiful country, what beautiful people. You know, I've wanted to go to Mexico for a long time. I've never been there. I will someday. Especially as I meet more and more of those beautiful people from that country. I'm like, doggone it, I need to go to Mexico. And not just to go shopping, but of course, shopping, hello, yeah. But, you know, to see the beautiful people in the beautiful country. And apparently Mexico, did anyone else know this? Apparently Mexico has some of the most drop-dead, gorgeous, beautiful waterfalls anywhere in the world. They've got waterfalls in Mexico. Who knew? But I've had a couple of friends that have traveled there. One of them went on a kind of like a honeymoon type thing. And they were like, you want to talk about, oh my goodness gravy. Go to Mexico if you want to see the most beautiful waterfalls ever. I feel like I'm doing like a tourist thing for Mexico. Yes, I am. It's supposed to be just phenomenal. And not just the things to see, but the people to meet. Holy cow. Some of the most gracious, loving, wow, people from Mexico. All right, I'm done. I'm done. No, I'm not. All right. So this next one, my whole point in going on that little passionate rant is Salute to Mexico is the next song. All right, what do we sow next? What in heaven's name do we sow next? All right, let's do our compressed felt. We're starting with 2 layers. We're going to fold it in half. Go up to 4 layers. We're going to fold it one more time and go up to 6 layers. No, that's a little bit too crazy. I want to honor my friend that said push the limits, but that's like sewing through concrete. So let's just go crazy and do 4 layers. We normally do 3. Any of you that follow me faithfully know we normally do 3 layers of compressed felt. And yes, 3 layers of compressed felt has actually snapped one of my cherished Schmetz needles. So we're going to push it even to 1 more layer with Maddie's 201-2, and let's see what happens. All right, here we go. Keep your fingers and toes crossed. We don't know what's going to happen here. I've never done 4 layers of this compressed felt before. Oh boy, I'm holding my breath right now, folks, just so you know I'm holding my breath. All right, let's close the box. Let's just close the box, okay? All you box closers, it's your day today, it's your day. And it's all because we're celebrating Mexico. And right with the ending of that song, I did not plan that. How does that happen? How does that... No, Dr. Singer did not cue me. Don't even go there. Dr. Singer didn't cue me. He's probably out getting a cappuccino right now. Yes, he likes cappuccino. All right? I said it on camera. And I'm not going to apologize for it, doggone it. Dr. Singer loves cappuccino. I don't drink cappuccino. Do any of you, are any of you cappuccino drinkers? Type it in the chat if you love cappuccinos. If you just like get up in the morning, you're like, I will not start breathing until I get a cappuccino. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to breathe. So I better get it quick. Otherwise, it's the last day I'm on earth. You know what I mean? So again, the cool thing about this compressed felt is when you sew it, especially if you close the box, it creates this cool little pucker effect right in the middle that I think is just the neatest thing. I just think it's the neatest thing. I really do. So let's zoom in on that and take a look at that. let's take a look at those gorgeous stitches as well, shall we? Gonna really slow it down. Again, we just went through 4 layers of compressed felt, folks. 4 layers. The silence is loud, isn't it? So that top stitch looks absolutely spectacular. See what I mean by the pucker effect? Isn't that cool? How it kind of puckers the material out. I could see using this to do some quilt blocks and having a lot of fun with it, can't you? So I'm going to turn this around now, and this lock stitch is really, really presenting loud and clear. And you know what? Even with Maddie's cool little material supporter, because of the way it's puckering and bending, it's really going to fight me in laying still. So I'm going to give just a little assist, if I can. Give a little assist with my clips as well, along with Maddie's really cool sew-off holder. So let's take a look at these lock stitches now. I'll turn that just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. I'll probably knock it down. There we go. So again, it's back to textbook page 34. Start right there. Textbook 34, the perfect stitch. 4 layers, and this is the lock stitch, folks. Through 4 layers of compressed felt. Never ever on this channel have I sewed 4 layers of compressed felt before. I don't know the last time I ever sewed 2 layers of genuine elk hide, if ever. So it's a premiere of firsts. And look at that from a distance, the totality of stitching. The lock stitch, folks, 4 layers of compressed felt. Look at it again from the side. Once I turn my screen around. Did I lock the camera? Yes, I did. Yay! No, I didn't. Doggone it. So there's 4 layers of compressed felt. Let me get in the camera shot here. That, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is insanity. That's insanity! 4 layers of compressed felt, folks, and we laid down stitches like this. Perfect stitching. Look at it from the side. So all of you folks in those blog groups, you said again, it's not possible. It is, right there, right there. The proof is in the pudding. 4 layers of compressed felt, and we didn't even break a needle today. Who knew? All right, so let's throw that to the back as well. And now, a little bit more music, and then we will move on to the next sew-off. So we just did Salute to Mexico, Salute to Mexico, and now we're going to do Salute to Washington. I don't know if, you know, with this day and age, with all the junk that's going on in Washington, I don't know if we should salute them. Maybe give them a little wave, but I don't know about a salute. But we're told to pray for those in power, so we'll pray for them and give them a wave, but not a, I don't know if we'll salute them or not. So here's Salute to Washington nonetheless. All right, let me move Maddie's sew-off holder. Do a quick wipe off on the bed. And we're going to keep on marching forward to this march. And while we're looking at the needle here, before I put material underneath the presser foot, let me just remind you of a couple things. And the couple things are that if you're setting this machine up for sewing, you want to make sure that the flat side of the needle is to the left. You want to make sure that when you thread this machine, which is real straightforward to thread, that when you ultimately get down to the needle, that you thread it from right to left. Again, the opposite of Chris's machine, the 101-4. So again, flat side of the needle to the left, thread it from right to left, and as far as the bobbin orientation, when you drop it into the raceway, when you drop it in right over here, make sure that that bobbin is with the thread coming underneath, which means as the bobbin unwinds, it's going to be unwinding which way if the thread is underneath when you drop it in. If you said clockwise, you're spot on. All right? All right, our next sew-off. As we get ready to continue to amaze people with the impossible. The impossible on this channel is what we do. Yeah, I knew the ending of the song, and that's the first time I heard it. Okay, so let's do some of our commercial grade canvas now. Everyone loves seeing canvas sewn because they already know with canvas, it is incredibly strong stuff. Incredibly strong stuff, and everyone wants to see the strength of a machine. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so let me put my clips to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half to get us up to 2 layers. Then I'm going to fold it this way, giving us a little bit shorter of a run, up to 4 layers. And then I'm going to fold it one more time to get us all the way up to 8 layers. I know. We're back to the impossible again, right? We're back to the impossible! Is Scott absolutely out of his mind? Well, you know what? Depending on how you evaluate mental health, yeah, it's possible. But I have fun doing these things, and I know you have fun watching them as well. And we can just barely, holy mackerel, we can just barely fit that underneath the presser foot. But here's the beauty of the 201-2 if you didn't know it. Watch this. Yes, I could do a rap song to lifting the presser foot. Who knew? So yeah, the point is the 201-2 does have a slight hyperextension, which in this case really helped us out. So 8 layers of genuine commercial grade, authentic canvas. Let's see how Maddie's machine, excuse me, not Maddie's machine. I was thinking of Maddie as far as the thread holders. Let's see how Super B's machine does with 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. Is it too much? It might be, because I've never done it before with this machine. And again, every machine is unique. So maybe I've gone too far. Maybe I've gone too far. We'll see. All right, here we go. All right, let's go across. And no, I'm not going to close the box. To the finish! I feel like saying, to eternity! Is that the line from Toy Story? To eternity, to whatever, and beyond. You know what I mean. Here we go. All right, let's see what we got. I didn't hear any strain from this machine at all. Did you? Did Super B's machine go, oh my gosh, is this Scott guy? Is he out of his mind? Is this even possible? No, because again, if you prepare a machine properly, and that machine is proud of who it is, or who she is, or who he is, it can do the impossible and not even for a second doubt it. Kind of like a little kid, when a little kid will jump to mom or dad and know that mom or dad is going to catch them, hopefully. They don't give it a second thought. They don't worry about it. They don't say, I wonder if Dad's going to catch me. I wonder if Mom's going to catch me. They know it's going to happen. Kind of like this sew-off with 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. So my friend again from Canada that said, Scott, can we push the boundaries again a little bit like you used to? Done. 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 The totality of the stitching. 8 layers of commercial grade canvas, folks. 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. Now we're turning it over. We're going to look at that lock stitch and a tuft of material that is really weird, but whatever. 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. Go on, bloggers, get to work. It's impossible to sew 8 layers of commercial grade canvas with a household Singer 201-2. Let me share the link. That's what you should say. Let me share the link. And let me show you what a perfect stitch looks like for all of you featherweight lovers. Look at that from the side. You can't even really see it. We'll look at it again. The totality of the stitching. The totality of the stitching. Let me lock it in place. There we go. So once again, 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. Here's what it looks like, folks. Am I in the camera shot? I can't tell. 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. And Super B out of Las Vegas, her machine just did this. Like a hiccup. You want to talk about the impossible? There it is. The impossible becoming possible again on this YouTube channel. All right, let's throw that to the back as well as a pass, an obvious pass. And let's buzz down a little bit more leather, and then I'm going to call it quits, folks. And I'm going to do some, what is this? I know it's going to sound weird, but I literally just sniffed the leather to tell what it was. And it smells like cowhide. So I'm going to say that it's cowhide. And what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of buzz around it the full perimeter as best as I'm able. You all know that I usually go off course, so I'm going to give it my best shot. We're going to buzz around this a little bit and kind of go around the perimeter with stitching to show that the machine can be controlled. Oh, looks like I already did some, what did I do? Did I already do some stitching on this one? Oh, it looks like I stitched it and then I took the thread out. So you're going to see a little bit of an indentation on it from where I had buzzed down at some point and laid down some stitching on it. Let's zoom in here. So again, don't expect much. You can expect a lot from Super B's machine, but for me, you know, we might stay on course, we might not stay on course. You just never know. So, I wonder who Brooke is. Does anyone know who Brooke is? This next one is called Brooke's Triumphal March. Who the heck is Brooke? Brooke Shields? No, we're not going to march for Brooke Shields, but we might. Some of you don't even know who Brooke Shields is, do you? Okay, Google it. You'll find out. All right, so Brooke's Triumphal March. Here we go. All right, let's see if we can stay on course. I'm not going to bet the farm on it, but you never know. I mean, this is the channel of accomplishing what is impossible. So I might do it today, you never know. Here we go. All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit and, oops, hold on a second. There we go. I got all excited and lifted the presser foot before I had the needle down. Not good. Let me do this. Go right to the edge here. We're going to try to go right to the edge. All right, we are like right on the edge here. Holy mackerel, this is crazy. All right, here we go. Yes! I sort of did it, almost. I mean, pretty close. All right, I got it. I mean, I was really harnessing the power there. I got to have a little fun. You got to have a little bit of fun in life, right? All right, let's buzz down the middle with a little bit more gumption. Since we did the outside and we're done with that, let's go down the middle now. Here we go. Ooh, I had a little bit of traction issue there. Did you see that? I didn't have it all the way underneath the presser foot. It was like on the edge. And so you'll see at the beginning of that launch, the stitching looks really weird. It's really short and stubby. Nothing wrong with short and stubby. Once again, how did I know that that song was going to end? It's the first time I ever heard it. Okay, so let's take a look at this stitching. This is going to be our top stitch. Let me just make sure. I believe so. Okay, so let's take a look at this stitching. A single layer of genuine cowhide, confirmed by sniff. Cowhide has a very distinct smell. Beautiful stitching. Eventually you'll see my little stubby launch, but that's okay. There it is. See the little stubby launch right there in the middle? Let's go to the bottom first. Then we'll come back up and around. So that stitching, folks, is just spot on. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Now we'll go to the middle. Spot on. Spot on. Spot on. And our launch. See what happens when you don't have it? Either you don't have adequate presser foot pressure, or in this case, you don't have the material completely underneath the presser foot, so when you launch, the feed dogs don't have enough bite on that material to move it evenly. So you get that little blah, 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 kind of like skidding in the winter. So we skidded in the winter a little bit, but apart from that little skid, which was again user error, look at that in totality. That is just gorgeous, folks. Don't you agree? Absolutely gorgeous stitching on the part of Super Bees 201-2. Totally had a brain lock there for a second. So again, a machine from 1946. And it sews better than machines you would pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for today. That, by the way, couldn't even do this, let alone some of the other sew-offs we've done. So let's turn it over now and look at that lock stitch and see how that lock stitch presents. You already know, right? I mean, you're looking at it right now from a distance and you're like, wow, wow. Apart from my little skid. Yeah, it's still there. I was hoping it would go away, but even that little skid, look at those stitches. They're even though they're distorted. Yeah. Stitch formation, stitch spacing, stitch presentation. Exactly as it should be. And we've been beating this needle up quite a bit. And still it's delivering. Go across the middle one now. That is textbook perfect stitching, folks. Look at it. And that's our lock stitch. I've said this before. As soon as you factor in that that needle, which is a non-leather needle, has to pierce that leather and then suck that thread back up against gravity with no kinetics in its favor to get back up through that leather to lock off that stitch, and it delivers something like this. Super B's machine is super. It just is. Look at what you've seen it do already. And again, if you're like, well, what did we do already? I just tuned into this. I got late. I was having a sandwich. Well, you're lost. You'll never see it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You can always go back and watch it. So we've done this genuine cowhide. Slam dunk. Actually, I could have just left that, couldn't I? So genuine cowhide. 8 layers of commercial grade canvas. Trying to get the right angle here with these newfangled lights that I have, which kind of does bleach him out a little bit, doesn't it? Shut that off. There, that's easier. Compressed felt, 4 layers of it. The first time I've ever shown 4 layers in the history of this channel as it jumps off that cool holder. We then took it down to the low end and went with 2 layers of cotton blend. Paper thin, perfect stitch. Nylon webbing, 2,000 pounds tinsel rating. And an absolutely drop dead gorgeous stitch, which depending on the lighting, you may not see anything, but it's there. You've already seen it up close. And last but certainly not least, 2 layers of genuine elk hide, laying down a perfect stitch, lock stitch, you name it, it's done. This is our sew-off sandwich that we've done. That's our sew-off sandwich right there on Super B's 201-2. And with that, I think we're going to stop there. We're going to stop there because anything at this point is just futility, because we already know what this 201-2 is going to do. Whether we go heavy grade, whether we go light grade, it just don't matter, as my friends from the South say. It just don't matter. It's going to get her done. It's going to get her done. So I'm going to leave these on the bed. I'm not going to be zooming around and going all over to them again. You've already seen them enough times. But what I am going to say is that I really am grateful that I had the opportunity to do this before the trip down to Tulsa, before taking a respite and closing down the workshop. I was able to sneak this premiere in and show you what this incredible machine that was prepared in this workshop specifically for Super B, and that I sourced from a fellow collector, what it's capable of doing, what she is capable of doing. And it's not exclusive. You know this from watching all of the videos. We have over 1,000 videos on this channel. And you've seen machines from every walk of life do the impossible. You've seen domestics, you've seen whites, you've seen Pfaff, you've seen Husqvarna. You've seen pretty much every machine that's out there. You've seen Sears and Roebuck machines, Kenmore machines. You've seen all of them do the impossible. So it's not unique to this 201-2. This YouTube channel is the YouTube channel of the impossible. So Super B, I hope you really enjoy this Rolls Royce of Singer sewing machines. Because I'm not in Tulsa, Oklahoma this week, you're going to have this machine heading towards you. I'm going to get it shipped and get her heading towards the great state of Nevada, city of Las Vegas. So enjoy, have fun, push the limits, test the impossible. And then hopefully once you get settled in with your beautiful Rolls Royce of Singer sewing machines, you're going to give us the privilege and the excitement and the honor of seeing this machine set up in your sewing room and doing the impossible. I had to put the Rolls Royce on top of that sew off, you know what I mean? So one last song to wrap us up as we end this premiere. And not with Brooks' Triumphal March, which is the last one. We're going to do it with the Emperor's Maneuver. The Emperor's Maneuver. No, I didn't say Emperor's Manure. I said Emperor's Maneuver. Silly guys. All right, let's jump off the tripod. All right, as I plunk down on the seat here at the workbench, let me encourage you. No, my Rolls Royce isn't going to roll off. Maybe. Let me encourage you to dream the big dreams. And if you've been sitting on the fence about contacting me to get your own fully restored, whether it's a Singer 201-2 like this one for Super B or another make and model, don't let that dream wait another day. Reach out. Let me know what you're dreaming about, and let's make that dream a reality. Okay? So God bless, and remember, you're never old until regrets take the place of your dreams. So grab those dreams, and more importantly, take action on them. And if you do that, your machine will be featured on this channel in a premiere doing the impossible.